So here's a question I want you to sit with for a second. You've got a credit card that earns points. Maybe you've had it a year, maybe two. You've been swiping it on groceries, gas, restaurants, using it on streaming, cell phones, the stuff that you were going to buy anyway. And the points have been stacking up in your account. Now, what do you think those points are actually worth? Most people would say whatever the bank tells me when I log in. I book through the travel portal. I get a cent or maybe a little bit more than a cent with a premium travel card. That's the number the bank shows you. So that's what they're worth, right? So here's the deal. That number isn't wrong. It's just half the story. These points sitting in your Chase account or your Amex account can be worth dramatically more than what the portal shows you. And the thing that unlocks that extra value has a name, and it's called the transfer partners. That's what today is about. By the time we're done, you're going to know what transfer partners are, how they compare to the travel portal, how to search for award availability before you ever move a point, and how to actually execute a transfer from start to finish. I'm going to walk you through two real flight examples, one domestic and one international, and show you the tools that I personally use to find these deals. Let's get ready to go. Welcome back to The Points Rookie, the show that takes you from clueless to confident in the world of credit card points and miles. I am Lane. Quick note up front, this is part one of a two-part series on transfer partners. I may slip in another episode in between the two, but just know that this is two parts and it will build on each other. So today is the foundation, what they are, how to search, how to transfer, the rules you have to know. Part two goes to the next level with something called indirect transfers, which is a more advanced move that unlocks flights that you didn't even know your points could reach. If today clicks, part two is going to feel like a cheat code. Also, we've already done two full episodes specifically on hotel transfer partners. If hotels are your focus, go back and listen to those. I think you may find them helpful as well. Today, the focus is flights. That's where I think beginners find some of their biggest wins, and I want to show you exactly how it works. Here's the four-word framework I want you to carry out of this episode. Map, search, transfer, book. So we're going to map, we're going to search, transfer, and book. That's the whole process. And by the time that we're done, each one of these words is going to mean something specific and actionable. Let's go get it. Before we can talk about transfer partners, we need to do a quick map of the points world. There are three types of points currencies, and they don't all work the same. And so I think a refresher, if you've already heard this, is helpful. So type 1 are the airline miles. These live directly inside one airline's loyalty program. So Delta Sky Miles, American Airlines, A Advantage, United Mileage Plus, Southwest Rapid Rewards. You earn them by flying that airline or by carrying their co-branded credit card. They live in that airline's world. And then there's hotel points. The same idea, just the different world. Hyatt points, Marriott Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, and others, but you earn those through stays or co-branded hotel cards. They stay in that hotel's ecosystem. And then there's type 3, and this is the one that the whole episode is about, and those are the bank points, also called transferable currencies. These are earned through credit cards from Chase, American Express, Citi, Capital One, Bilt, Wells Fargo, and others. But Chase calls theirs Ultimate Rewards. Amex calls their Membership Rewards. Citi has Thank You Points. Capital One has Miles, and Bilt has Bilt Rewards. Here's what make bank points completely different from the other two that we just talked about. They don't belong to any airline or hotel. They sit in your bank account, flexible, uncommitted, ready to go wherever makes the most sense for you. At any time, you can transfer them to a long list of airline and hotel loyalty programs. Those programs are the transfer partners. Your Chase points can become United Miles, Southwest Rapid Rewards points, Air France KLM Flying Blue Miles, Hyatt points, and others, usually at a 1-to-1 ratio, usually transferred instantly without fees. That flexibility is everything. You're not locked into one airline. You hold a currency that can become whatever you need it to be based on where you're going and where the best deal lives. Most people with Chase or Amex cards have absolutely no idea this option exists. They find the travel portal, they use the travel portal, and they leave a significant amount of value on the table every single time. Every major bank has a travel portal. Chase has the Chase travel portal, Amex has the Amex travel, and they work like online travel agencies like Expedia or Orbitz, except instead of paying with a credit card, you pay with your points. The bank converts your points into a fixed dollar value. With the Chase Sapphire Preferred, your points may be worth 1.25 cents each through the portal. Sapphire Reserve may give you up to 1.5 cents per. So 40,000 points would get you $500 towards travel. Simple, familiar, and easy to understand. But here's where it falls short. The fixed rate, that's the ceiling. You will never get, or almost never get, more than 1.25 or 1.5 cents per point through the portal. The bank has decided what your points are worth, and that's the number. When you transfer your points to an airline and you book directly through that program, well, there is no ceiling. You're getting whatever value that specific redemption offers. And on the right booking, that value can be 2, 3, even 4 times more than the portal will give you. In fact, I'll give you an example in this episode that is more than 6 to 10 times per point. I'll show you exactly what I mean in those examples coming up. But first, let me give you a quick lay of the land of the major bank programs, because which card you have determines which airlines you can transfer to. Think of these as the 4 engines that power the transfer partner game. You don't need all of them. One solid one is enough to get you started, but you should know what each one connects to. So let's talk about Chase Ultimate Rewards. This is the one that I talk about the most, and I think for good reason. Chase has one of the strongest transfer partner lineups available. On the flight side, Chase transfers to United Airlines, Southwest, British Airways, Air France KLM Flying Blue, Singapore Airlines, Aer Lingus, Virgin Atlantic, and others. Most transfers are at a 1-to-1 ratio. Most are instant. The Chase Sapphire Preferred and Chase Sapphire Reserve are the cards that unlock these transfer partners. And I'll have links in the show notes if these cards are still of interest to you. If you're not sure where to start, this is where most beginners would start. Now, let's talk about the American Express membership rewards. Amex has one of the largest transfer partner lists of any bank with over 20 partners. On the flight side, we're talking about Delta SkyMiles, Air France KLM Flying Blue, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, Air Canada, Virgin Atlantic, and others. The Delta transfer is notable. It's one of the only ways to top up your Delta miles outside of actually flying or having a Delta co-branded card. The American Express Gold and Amex Platinum are the primary cards earning membership rewards points. And we've got Citi Thank You Points. Citi has a transfer partner that nobody else has. American Airlines, AA Advantage. If you want your everyday spending to turn into American airline miles, Citi is your only transferable option for that. That's a real competitive advantage if American is your home carrier. Citi also transfers to Turkish Airlines, Avianca, and others. Next, let's take a quick look at Capital One miles. And they have built a solid lineup in recent years, including Air Canada Aeroplan, British Airways, Turkish, Avianca, ATAP Air Portugal, and Virgin Red. The Aeroplan transfer is particularly useful, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in part 2. And then Bilt Rewards. Just a quick mention. Bilt is a newer player that lets you earn points on rent payments and mortgage, which is a big deal, and they're one of the only cards that will let you do that. Flight transfer partners include United, Air France, KLM, Flying Blue, Cathay Pacific, and British Airways. And this is an ecosystem definitely worth knowing about, and it's one that I am eyeing heavily. Now, here's what I want you to see when you look at those 5 programs together. Between Chase, Amex, Citi, Capital One, and Bilt, you can reach virtually every major airline loyalty program on the planet. Delta, United, American, Southwest, British Airways, Singapore, Air France, all of it. The flexible points you're earning on your credit card are a master key to almost any airline that you want to fly. That's the map. You now know what you have and where it can go. So up next are the examples that'll show you why it matters. And then we'll go into the search, transfer, and book portion. Okay, concept established. Now let me show you some of the math. I want to start here because a lot of beginners assume transfer partners are something you use for big international dream trips and not for everyday travel. This is just not true. One of the best uses of transfer partners, especially when you're just learning, are the domestic flights. Domestic airfare has gotten expensive. A round trip ticket for a family of four somewhere in the US is not a minor purchase anymore. We're talking about $250 to $400 per person on a lot of routes. So for a family that wants to take a spring break trip or a long weekend somewhere, that's a real budget conversation before anyone books anything. But transfer partners can change that conversation. Chase to Southwest is one of the easiest, most beginner friendly flight redemptions that there is. And Southwest is a direct Chase transfer partner. Your Chase Ultimate Rewards points transfer to Southwest Rapid Rewards at a 1-to-1 ratio. So 20,000 Chase points becomes 20,000 Southwest points. Here's what makes Southwest uniquely beginner friendly. There are no blackout dates and no award inventory restrictions. If a seat is for sale on Southwest.com, you can book it with points. Period. No hunting for special award space. No separate award calendar you have to learn. The seat is there, it's yours. Southwest pricing is tied directly to the cash price of the flight. The number of points goes up and down when the fare does. You can toggle between cash and points view right on their website and see exactly what you're getting. You typically get somewhere around 1.3 cents per point on a basic fare. Here's what that looks like on a real trip. So let's say that you wanted to fly from my home airport, Atlanta to Denver round trip in the summer. A ticket runs around $320 per person, maybe a little higher. Through the Chase travel portal at 1.25 cents per point, that's about 25,600 Chase points per ticket. So for a family of four, that's over 102,000 points. Transfer those points to Southwest, and that $320 fare, approximately 24,600 Southwest points, is similar in the points cost as the portal. But here's what's different, and this matters for a lot of families. If anything goes wrong, if anything changes, plans shift, somebody gets sick, work comes up, you cancel the Southwest award flight, and your points go right back into your account. No fees, no penalties. Cancel up to somewhere around 10 minutes before departure. It's quite amazing. That kind of flexibility is genuinely rare in the award world. And when you've got kids involved and life doesn't cooperate with your travel plans, it has a real dollar value. So for a family of four doing round trip, you just use roughly 98,000 points instead of spending $1,280 in cash. That's real money freed up for hotels, food, activities, the stuff that actually makes the trip memorable. That's the domestic story. It's not the flashiest use of points, but it's accessible. It works, and it's a legitimate starting point. Now, let's look at example 2, an international flight, because this is where the difference between the portal and a transfer partner stops being interesting and starts being kind of shocking. I've personally used Air France KLM Flying Blue, so I'm walking you through this one from experience. Air France and KLM share a loyalty program called Flying Blue. Both Chase and Amex transfer partners directly to Flying Blue at a 1-to-1 ratio. Flying Blue has a feature called Promo Awards, so every single month they offer some sort of a discount on routes by 25 to 50%. Transatlantic routes, meaning US to Europe, show up in these promos regularly. The cash price for a round trip to Paris on a good booking is somewhere between $700 and $900. And that's peak summer or holidays, you could be looking at $1,200 or more. Through the Chase travel portal at 1.25 cents per point, an $800 fare costs 64,000 Chase points. A $1,200 fare costs 96,000 points. It's a fixed rate and no flexibility. Now here's the Flying Blue transfer. During a standard month with no promo, a round-trip economy award from the U.S. to Paris through Flying Blue runs around 50,000 to 60,000 Flying Blue miles. Transfer 55,000 Chase or Amex points to Flying Blue, book the same flight for fewer points than the portal would have charged. It's already better, right? During a promo award month, that same round trip drops to 30 to 40,000 Flying Blue miles. Transfer 35,000 points, book a $900 ticket. You just got 2.5 cents of value per point, double what the portal would give you. Now, stay with me because I want to show you the business class version of this. Not because I'm assuming you're booking business class tomorrow, but because I want you to understand what's possible with the points you're already earning. I looked at a random date in July before I recorded this episode. A business class seat from the US to Paris on Air France in cash value runs between $4,500 and $8,000. That's a one-way ticket. Through the Chase portal, when I looked it up, I was looking at 451,000 points to 700,000 points one way. That's years of points earning. Not a realistic option for most people. Through Flying Blue, during a week promo on the same date, I saw a ticket for 200,000 miles, which is still very high. But if you catch it at the right time, you can find tickets for 50,000 to 60,000 miles one way. So transfer 55,000 Amex points, book a $5,000 business class seat to Paris. The portal caps you at 1.25 cents per point. A redemption like this gives you 7 to 10 points per point. Same points you're already earning, but it's a completely different outcome because you knew where to transfer them. This is a quick but important thing to mention. Some people ask, do you still pay anything when you book with miles, or is it 100% free? The answer is yes, you are almost always paying something. And every beginner does ask me this, so let's clear this up right now. Award flights are not completely free. This is why I talk about nearly free travel. You'll typically owe government taxes, airport fees, and sometimes what airline call carrier-imposed surcharges. On a domestic flight in the US, this is usually just $5 to $11 in taxes. On an international flight, it varies more. That Paris business class seat booked through Flying Blue might have $100 to $150 in fees on top of the miles. Some programs pass on heavier surcharges than others, and that's worth checking before you actually transfer your points. Think of it this way. Miles cover the fare, cash covers the fees. The fees are almost always a small fraction of what you pay for the flight in cash. But you need to know that they exist. Build them into your comparison and never assume a miles booking means zero out-of-pocket expense. So, how do you check award availability? This is the search step, and it's the one most beginners skip. They understand that transfer partners give better value. They get excited, and they go straight to their Chase account to move points. That's kind of backwards. Before you transfer a single point, you need to confirm that the award you want actually exists. That specific flight on your specific dates with available seats for points is actually bookable. Award inventory is separate from cash inventory. A flight can be wide open for cash booking and have 0 award seats released. But here's the good news. There are tools that make this search fast and beginner friendly, and they build on each other. You start simple and you go deeper as you need to. So step 1, start with Google Flights. Most of you already use Google in some form, and many of you may already use Google Flights, and that's exactly where we start. Head to flights.google.com and search your route the normal way. Go origin, destination, dates, cabin class. This is your foundation. You're learning what's out there, which airlines fly the route, what the cash prices look like, how dates affect the price. The feature that I use most often for points research is the price calendar. When you search in Google Flights, hover over the calendar and you'll start seeing prices appear for different dates across a 2-month window. Google highlights the cheapest dates in green. This matters for award travel because the cheapest cash dates are often the same dates with the best award availability. Flights with less demand tend to have more award seats released. There's also a flight alerts feature. If the cash price on a route is too high today, you can set an alert and Google will email you when the price drops. This is really useful for tracking routes you're interested even before you're ready to book. Google Flights Explorer is worth knowing about too. It lets you search with complete flexibility parameters. Say you want to take a week-long trip sometime in the next 6 months and you want to spend under $800 per person. Google Flights will pull up a map showing every destination that fits. Great for discovering destinations and understanding what's realistic before you start chasing award availability. But here's the thing. Google Flights is showing you cash pricing. To see the point side of the same search, you need the next tool. So step 2 would be add the points path. Points Path is a free browser extension. You install it once, and it runs automatically every time you use Google Flights. Here's what it does. While Google Flights is loading your cache results, PointsPath runs in the background and pulls up award prices for the exact same flights at the exact same time. You'll see little spinners appear as it loads. Then right next to the cache fare, you'll start seeing miles prices, which loyalty programs can book this flight. What the award costs in each program. Here's what I really love about it. PointsPath tells you whether using miles is a good deal or a great deal for each specific flight, or whether you're better off just paying cash. It does the comparison for you. Click the eye icon on any result, and a pop-up shows you every loyalty program that can book that flight, which bank points transfer to those programs as well. So if you're looking at a United flight and you've got Chase points, PointsPath will show you, yes, Chase transfers to United. Here's the miles cost. Here's whether that's a good use of your points or not. The free version covers several programs. The paid version adds others. So for a beginner focused on domestic flights and basic international routes, the free version will get you a pretty good ways ahead. But this is the tool that changed how I search for flights. You're already going to use Google Flights anyway. PointsPath just makes it show you the full picture at the same time. Now, I also use an aggregator called Seats Aero, and that's Seats, S-E-A-T-S .aero, A-E-R-O, for deeper availability searching. Once you've identified which program you want to use for a specific flight, the next question is, are award seats actually available? And this is what I love about Seats.aero. It is an award availability search tool. You tell it the route you're looking for, the program you want to use, or programs, and the dates that you're flexible around, and it searches across a wide window of dates to show you where award space actually exists. Instead of going to a loyalty program's website each time and clicking through a calendar one day at a time, Seats.aero shows you a broad view of availability across weeks or months at once. This is the tool that can save you a tremendous amount of time and can save you from transferring points to a program, going to book, and then discovering that there is no award space on those dates. You check Seats.aero first, you see where the space is, you find your dates, then you go to the airline's website directly. This is a must before you actually transfer. And once you confirm on the airline site, then you can transfer your points. I use this constantly when I'm in a planning phase of a trip. I will put a link in the show notes if you are interested in this tool. It does have a free version. The paid version gives you a longer window and gives you a few more options. So certainly worth experimenting with, but definitely try the free version. I think you will like it. There are other tools out there as well that can make your searching similar, like Points.yeah and others. But they search availability across multiple programs, and most of them are pretty beginner-friendly from what I've seen. But again, I'll cover these much more thoroughly once I have some time and get a little bit more experience and make sure that I think it's worth adding to your toolkit. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap. Step 1, Google Flights to understand the route and find flexible dates. 2, PointsPath running in the background to see award prices along cash prices. 3, Seats.aero to confirm actual award space on your specific dates before you transfer anything. 4, check the direct airline, and then and only then go to your bank account and move the points. That sequence protects you from the most common beginner mistake, which we'll talk about in the rules section. So how do you actually transfer points? Step by step. All right, you've mapped out your options and you've searched for availability. Now we're in the final 2 steps, transfer and book. And this is where it starts to get real. So before you can transfer points to an airline or a hotel, you need to have a loyalty account with that program. For example, if you want to transfer Chase points to United, you'll need a United Mileage Plus account. If you want to transfer Amex points to Hilton, you'll need a Hilton Honors account. Signing up is usually free and only takes a few minutes. You go to the airline or hotel's website, you create an account with your name, email, and basic information, and they'll give you a loyalty number. That loyalty number is what you'll connect to your bank when you transfer points. Make sure the name on your bank account and loyalty account match, because mismatched names can delay or even block a transfer. Okay, step 1, log in to your bank account and find the transfer section. In Chase, it's inside your Ultimate Rewards account. There's a clear section for transferring points to partners. Amex has the same inside the membership rewards. Capital One and Citi have similar dedicated sections. The interface varies slightly, but they all have a visible transfer option. You're not going to have to hunt too hard for it. Step 2, select your transfer partner and the number of points. You'll see your full list of transfer partners listed out. Pick the program that you confirmed has availability. Enter how many points you want to move. The bank will confirm the transfer ratio. Most are 1-to-1, but not all. Double check the ratio before you hit confirm. And then step 3, confirm and wait. Most transfers are instant or processed within a few minutes, but some programs can take 24 to 48 hours. A small number, and this is less common, can take up to a week, particularly on your first transfer to that program. This is why you're going to want some runway. Don't initiate a transfer the night or the day before you're trying to book. And then step 4, go to the airline's website and complete your booking. Once the points land in your loyalty account, go directly to that airline or hotel program's website to book, not back to the bank portal through the program itself. Search for the award, select your flight, and complete the booking using your newly transferred miles. That's the whole process. Google flights with PointsPath, seats.aero to confirm, bank accounts to transfer, airline website to book. So I want to mention transfer bonuses, the opportunity, and the trap. Banks and airlines regularly run promotions where you get a bonus on transfers. Something like transfer Chase to United this month and get a 30% bonus. So transfer 10,000 points and you get 13,000 miles, that kind of a thing. These are real and they can be worth acting on, but here's how to use them correctly. A transfer bonus is worth taking when you already have a specific award confirmed and available. You've done the search, you've verified the seats for the hotel room exist on your dates, and you've already decided you're going to transfer. Then a bonus comes along. Great. You get more miles for the same Chase points. That's a genuine win. The trap is transferring speculatively just to grab a bonus without a plan. I see this constantly. A bank announces a 40% transfer bonus to some program, people get excited, and they move 50,000 points without having any specific trip in mind because they think the more miles is always the better. But here's the problem. Once those points are in that airline program, they're stuck there until you use them. And airline programs devalue their miles regularly. That 40% bonus you grab this month could be offset by a devaluation next year that makes the same flight cost 30%. Your bonus you just got essentially evaporated. Don't transfer speculatively. Confirm the award first. Use the bonus as a cherry on top of a decision you already made, not as the reason to transfer in the first place. Here's the part that might surprise you. I've spent this entire episode explaining why transfer partners are powerful, and they are, but there are real situations where transferring your points is actually the wrong move. There are times when the cash fare is cheap. Airlines put flights on sale. Sometimes a route that normally runs $350 drops to $89. In those cases, buy the ticket, pay the $89. Save your points for something that costs real money. Points are most valuable when they're replacing a significant cash outlay. I would suggest not burning 15,000 miles on an $89 flight. When you're booking last minute, award space often dries up close to departure. If you're trying to book something for next week and you're counting on a transfer to go through and award space to still be there, that's a lot of things that have to line up. Cash is more reliable for last minute travel. Save the transfer strategy for trips you're planning weeks or months out. When you're chasing airline status, this one's a little bit more advanced, but worth knowing. When you fly on an award ticket, you typically earn little to no elite qualifying credits towards status. If you're close to hitting silver or gold on an airline, you need those qualifying miles. Paying for the ticket and flying on a revenue fare is going to help your status push. Sometimes the long-term value of elite status, upgrades, lounge access, bonus earnings, is worth more than the points you'd save on a single award booking, or when you haven't confirmed availability. I'm going to say this one more time because it's the rule that I think matters the most. If you have not confirmed with your own eyes that the specific award you want is available to book, do not transfer. I don't care how excited you are. I don't care how good the transfer bonus is. Confirm the availability is real on your dates for your number of passengers. then transfer, always in that order. We've done 2 full episodes specifically on hotel transfer partners, how they work, which programs are worth your attention, and the specific math on booking directly through Hyatt versus the Chase portal, if that's your focus. And again, those episodes have already been recorded, so I would go back and look. But the 30-second version for today is the exact same logic we just talked through for flights that do apply to hotels. Bank points transfer to hotel programs like Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton. Booking directly through the hotel program almost always beats the portal. Chase to Hyatt is the gold standard in the hotel world. Go listen to those episodes for the full breakdown. All right, so these are non-negotiables. So let me land this with the rules that don't change regardless of which program, which flight, or which transfer you're dealing with. Confirm availability first, always. Search with Google Flights, Points Path, Seats.Aero, find the specific award, confirm that it's bookable, and then transfer your points. Remember, transfers are permanent. Once your Chase points become flying blue miles, they are flying blue miles. There is no undo. There is no back button. No customer service call that brings them back to Chase. Treat every transfer as a one-way door. Okay, not all points are equal on the receiving end. Most bank-to-airline transfers happen at a 1-to-1 ratio, but that does not mean 25,000 points get you the same in every program. The value of the miles in the destination program depends entirely on what you're booking. Run the math. Divide the cash value of the flight by the number of miles required. That number is your cents per point, is the only comparison that matters. Open your loyalty accounts now. United Mileage Plus, Air France KLM Flying Blue, Southwest Rapid Rewards, Air Canada Aeroplan, whichever ones that you think you may be using. They're all free. They take about 5 minutes each to create, and there's zero downside. Some programs process transfers faster for established accounts. Do it this week while you're thinking about it. And then don't transfer speculatively. Have a plan first. The transfer bonus is a bonus, not a reason to move your points without knowing where you're actually going. All right, let me give you a little tease of what's coming in part 2. So you've got the foundation. You understand what bank points are, why they beat the portal, how to search for award space with the right tools, how direct transfers work, and the rules that protect you from the most common mistakes. Part 2 is where we go to the next level, and honestly, it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about how indirect transfers, the concept in one sentence is instead of transferring your bank points to the airline you want to fly, you're going to transfer them to a completely different airline that's in the same global alliance, and then we're going to use that program to book the flight that you actually want. The reason this matters is sometimes a partner program has better award pricing, better availability, or no fuel surcharges on the same flight that you want. And you end up on the exact same plane, but you got there smarter. For example, American Airlines is not a direct Chase transfer partner, but British Airways is. And American and British Airways are in the same airline alliance. So you transfer your Chase points to British Airways, then you book American airline flights through the British Airways website, including domestic American flights, sometimes for dramatically fewer points than you would the other method. And when you see the specific examples and numbers in part 2, I think you're going to realize there's a whole level of this game you didn't know existed. So do not miss it. Okay, let's start to land this. 4 words, and that's all of this. Map, search, transfer, book. Here's what each one means now that you've heard the full episode. So in map, know what you have and where it can go. 3 types of points: airline miles, hotel points, and bank points. Bank points are the flexible ones: Chase, Amex, Citi, Capital One, and Bilt. They each have their own transfer partner list. Together, they cover virtually every major airline on the planet. Figure out which program you have and which airlines it connects to. That's your map. Second, search. Find the award before you move a single point. Start with the Google Flights to understand your route and find flexible dates. Add Points Path to see award prices running alongside cash prices in real time. Use aggregators like Seats.Aero to confirm actual award availability on those specific dates. This sequence protects you from the most expensive beginner mistake, which is transferring points with nowhere to send them. And remember, miles cover the fare, cash cover the fee. Know that you'll owe before you commit. And then you transfer. Once you've confirmed the award is bookable, go to your bank account, select your transfer partner, confirm the ratio, and move the points. Most transfers are instant, but some may take up to 48 hours. And don't transfer speculatively. If there's a transfer bonus, great, but the confirmed award comes first. And then book. Go directly to the airline's website or app with your newly transferred miles, search the award, select the flight, complete the booking. Don't do that in the bank portal. It's the airline program itself. That's where the value lives. Map, search, transfer, book, write it down. That's the game. So I want to close with something I think about a lot. Somewhere out there right now, there's a family that hasn't taken a real vacation in 3 years. Not because they don't want to, but because every time they price it out, the flights alone make it feel impossible. So they put it back on the someday list again. And what they don't know, what nobody has told them, is that the points sitting in their credit card account from 2 years of groceries and gas might already be enough to get them there. That's why I started this show. Not because I'm a finance expert or some sort of a travel blogger, because I'm just a regular person who is beginning to figure this out. And I want to see the change that this can provide for families, couples, and anyone who wants to travel. The trips that can be taken, the memories that can be made. And once I started learning about it, I just couldn't not share it with others. You now understand something that most people spend years in this hobby before they figure out. You know what transfer partners are, you know the framework, you know the tools, and you know that the portal isn't the whole game, it's just the beginning of it. So, whatever trip is on your list, the beach trip you keep talking about, the family reunion that's getting harder to justify, the international flight you've always wanted to take, go start the map, search the route, see what it actually costs in miles. You might be a lot closer than you think. So, thank you again for spending this time with me, genuinely. Every time you listen, every time you share it with somebody, every message that I get, it means more than I can say, and it keeps me pumped up and on fire to help more people. I started the Points Rookie podcast because I believe this knowledge should be accessible to everyone, not just people who stumble onto the right blog at the right time. So thank you for being here, and thank you for helping grow this community. Come find me on Instagram and TikTok at Points Rookie. Tell me where you're going. I love to hear all of it. Keep learning, keep earning, and let's continue to go from clueless to confident together. I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you.